So now I'm joined by an incredible guest. I say hello to Robert Lindsay. Hello, Robert.
Hi, good morning, Lewis. How are you?
I'm great, thanks. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm very good. I'm enjoying the sunshine. How's it like in Cornwall?
It's actually very good today. We've had a good couple of days of weather here in Cornwall.
Yeah, we're enjoying it in London too. It's a little bit dry, but I've got a big garden and it's trying to keep it wet, moist. So because I'm growing vegetables as well.
So everything's going good where you are at the moment?
Yeah, things are quite busy actually. I'm filming a new program for Sky called Spy, which I started a couple of weeks ago, and I've got some more filming on it at the end of this month, and a bit more in June. It's going really well. It's a terrific piece.
Well, you've worked on many TV shows, but for you, when did you get your big break in the acting industry?
Well, I suppose it was getting into RADA that was my big break, because, it's a working-class kid from Ilkeston in Derbyshire, small mining town. I guess to get to RADA at age, 17, was quite an achievement, I guess.
And was acting something you set out to do from the start, or was there something else you wanted to work towards? No,
acting was always in my blood. I was a sort of natural performer and entertainer in the class at school. And fortunately, it was spotted by my art master, a man called John Lally, who eventually became my headmaster. He was my art teacher originally, and he organised this thing called the Grand Order of Thespians. And I started out as school orator and chief scribe, and then became Grand Thespian, aged 15 years of age. And it was a remarkable achievement because it was a very rough and tough boys' school, secondary modern school in a small mining town, and the school uniform was a leather jacket and a bike chain. It was rough and tough. So this art teacher just formed this incredible theatre company and got the whole school involved, not least me, and I became hooked and have been ever since.
And, you also played the character Wolfie Smith in the sitcom Citizen Smith, so how did you get the part of Wolfie Smith?
Well, I was doing... One of my first jobs when I left RADA was a TV series for Thames Television, as it then was, in a program called Get Some In, which was about national service. And I played a character called Jakey Smith. It was a teddy boy in the 50s. And John Sullivan, who was then working as a scene shifter at the BBC, had seen me and was devising this new situation comedy called Citizen Smith. And he made up his mind that I was the man. And I was offered the part by a very famous producer called Dennis Main Wilson, who then was sort of legendary, because he'd found people like Tony Hancock and devised shows like Steptoe and Son, and the rest is history, as they say.
And you got to work with the late John Sullivan on Citizen Smith, so how would you describe John Sullivan's writing?
Well, John, like Alan Bleasdale, is another writer I work with. John stayed very true to himself. He was very rooted in the South London world of Peckham and Dooting and Mitcham and that sort of area. He loved it, and he knew those people he wrote about. I think that always is the mark of a great writer, when you stay true to yourself and you write about things that you know and understand.
And when you were younger, was there an actor or a performer who kind of inspired you? Was there someone who you looked up to?
Laurence Olivier. Lord Olivier originated the National Theatre of Great Britain. He was a movie star in Hollywood, things like Rebecca and The Marathon Man with Dustin Hoffman. He was a great actor. I worked with him for Granada Television on a Shakespeare project called King Lear in the early 80s. And I was incredibly proud to be working alongside him, and fortunately we became friends afterwards. And he came to see me in a production called Me and My Girl at the Adelphi Theatre, and was incredibly helpful. And I then played a great role that he originated, called Archie Rice in The Entertainer, which I did at the Old Vic 2 years ago, which is a part he persuaded me to do when I was in my early 30s.
So that must have been something you really enjoy doing. Someone who inspired you, you actually get to work with and become friends with them.
Well, that's the wonderful thing about this business. You do eventually get to meet your heroes, and sometimes they don't always transpire to be the heroes that you thought they were. He fortunately did. He was a great man with great vision, and of course a great talent, enormous talent. And versatility is the thing that I admired him most for. He could play literally anything, from comedy to musicals to Shakespeare to, and do Hollywood movies. And that's what my generation of actors grew up with, that kind of training. That's what we wanted to be. We wanted to be everyone, play everyone.
And you have also worked in theatre for many years, so what would you say the main difference between theatre and television is?
Energy and fitness. I think that, you can only train for the theatre. Films are another world. They're about a certain look. You have to be ready for the moment, of course, because you wait around a lot on films. But theatre, you're doing 8 shows a week in a theatre, you've got to be fit.
And would you say you prefer TV to theatre, or do you prefer theatre to TV, or is it
No,
equal?
I love theatre. That's my lifeblood, as it were. That's when I'm best. It's what I do best. The actual live performance in front of an audience. There's nothing. I don't think any actor in England would argue with that. I think we all feel very much the same. It's a different thing in America, of course.
And one of my favourite programmes ever in the history of TV is My Family, and you played a character of Ben Harper. Now, would you say Robert Lindsay is similar to Ben Harper in any way?
Well, the thing is, with all roles, the longer you play them, you start to inhabit them and become them. I think my sons are very happy that it's finished. They told me the other day, I'm glad you got rid of him. We don't like him very much. So I probably started to become a bit like him, which was a bit worrying, grumpy, which I'm not as a person, naturally.
Well, the show became such a big hit. It was broadcast. Did you ever expect it was going to be shown on TV as long as it has been?
Yes, I think I did, because I think the TV at that time needed a domestic comedy. There are now a huge amount of shows on the family domestic front, and animated ones like Family Guy and The Simpsons, and and I know in America now they're originating an idea based on our show, and of course the show has become a sort of an international success. It's shown literally in every country in the world, and dubbed, I hasten to add, in different languages. It's very odd to see yourself speaking Portuguese. And,
well, the next series is going to be the last, so are you sad to see the show go?
No, I think it's reached its point where we all wanted to say goodbye. The kids have grown up, fled the nest, and it ceased to become my family, We all knew that there would be a limit. I don't think we expected it quite to go as far as 11 series, but it's quite an achievement in itself, I guess.
Definitely, and you worked with Zoe Wanamaker on the show. So how do you find working with Zoe? Do you get on really, really well?
Well, Zoe's a friend. I've known Zoe since we were drama students. She was at Central, I was at RADA, so we've known each other for many years. Zoe is an actor very much like myself. She's very into theatre. That's what she's doing at the moment, actually. In fact, I'm going to see her this week in the Cherry Orchard at the National Theatre. That's her passion. She feels the same. I think we feel that TV supplements our livelihood in the theatre.
And out of all the episodes of My Family that you've worked on, for you, would you say there's a favourite episode for you, an episode you enjoyed more than others?
Lewis, I can't remember one of them. There have been so many. I know that there was one particular episode I did enjoy, which was just working with my grandson, Taylor, an actor, little actor, who's terrific. And I don't think it's been shown yet. He won't let me in the house. He's watching my movies on the TV. I come back from my work, and he's locked the house, and he won't let me in. And I try many methods of trying to break into the house. And I end up in a tent in the garden.
So we've got to look forward to that one.
It's terribly funny, and he's terribly good. It was almost silent. The whole thing, there's hardly any dialogue at all, which is like a little silent movie in itself. So I think that probably will be shown in the last series.
We'll look forward to that one. Personally, I'm not sure if you remember, but my favourite episode with you in was you hired a cleaner called Martha, and she made you nice breakfasts and dinners and stuff. And Susan got a little bit jealous, and that was just my favourite episode, because it was Ben's reaction in the morning when he drank the coffee and he said it was so good.
Everything was so good. Yes, I do remember that. Yeah, I think we'd all love that kind of lady to look after us, but marriage is another thing, isn't it? But then you probably don't know anything about that.
No, not yet. So do you have any upcoming projects you can tell us a little bit about?
Well, as I sit here in my lovely garden in the sunshine, I am literally waiting for my agent to call me to inform me that I've signed my life away this autumn until next summer in a project that I would love to mention, but because my agent hasn't called me yet, it means that they're still in negotiations. So, as actors say, best not to say anything until we've signed on the dotted line.
Well, we'll look forward to hearing about that in the future, and maybe we can find out on the internet in a few weeks' time, perhaps.
Oh, you'll know. You'll find out. I think this is... I'm hoping this is going to be very big and very exciting.
Well, it's been fantastic speaking to you today, Robert. It's been a great honour having you on my show.
Thank you very much indeed. I've enjoyed it.